Long before the Hawaiian Islands filled with villages, temples, and the smoke of cooking fires, the people believed that life itself flowed from a powerful and mysterious mother. She was not simply a goddess of fertility. She was renewal itself, a being who could shed age like a snake sheds skin, becoming young again and again across the centuries. Her name was Haumea. The stories about her are among the oldest in Hawaiian mythology. Some traditions say she was present at the very beginnings of human life in the islands. Others describe her as a goddess who walked among ordinary people, disguising herself as an elderly woman before revealing her true power. But Haumea was not simply nurturing. She was also unpredictable, a goddess capable of both creation and abandonment. And according to legend, when humanity betrayed her trust, she left them forever. Tonight, witches and wanderers, we are stepping into the myths of one of Hawaii's most ancient and mysterious deities, the Mother of Gods, the bringer of life, and the woman who taught humanity how to be born. Hello, and welcome back, witches and wanderers, to the Morbid Witch Podcast, where we explore myths, folklore, legends, and the strange stories that linger in the shadows of cultures around the world. Each episode, we step into the tales of ancient gods, wandering spirits, cryptids, and the eerie legends that shaped the beliefs of the people who told them. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning listener, it's always good to have you back. To all my witches and wanderers, thank you for joining me. Before we step deeper into tonight's story, a quick reminder. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling me what myth or legend you'd like to hear about in a future episode. And if you're listening on Spotify, please take a moment to leave a rating for the show. It helps more witches and wanderers discover the podcast. You can listen to the Morbid Witch Podcast on Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. So wherever you prefer to explore the strange and supernatural, the stories are waiting for you. Now, let's travel across the Pacific Ocean to the volcanic islands of Hawaii and meet the goddess who gave life to generations. In Hawaiian mythology, Haumea is known as a goddess of fertility, childbirth, and renewal. But to understand her importance, we first have to understand how central genealogy and ancestry are within Hawaiian culture. The Hawaiian cosmos is built around family lines. Gods give birth to gods, who give birth to humans, who become ancestors guiding future generations. Life flows continuously from one generation to the next, forming an unbroken chain between the living and the divine. Haumea sits near the center of that chain. Many traditions describe her as the mother of several important deities, including powerful figures who appear across Hawaiian mythological cycles. But Haumea's most unusual characteristic was her strange ability to renew her own youth. Unlike other gods who aged normally or remained eternally young, Haumea existed in cycles. She could transform from an elderly woman into a young girl again and again, renewing herself as time passed. This strange power made her something more than simply a fertility goddess. she became a symbol of eternal life itself. And according to legend, she used that power in ways that would eventually change the fate of humanity. One of the most unusual stories surrounding Haumea describes her strange cycle of rebirth and marriage. According to ancient legends, Haumea would periodically travel back to her homeland after transforming herself from an elderly woman into a young girl again. When she arrived, no one recognized her. To them, she appeared to be a completely new person, young, beautiful, and mysterious. Soon after returning, she would marry a man from the community. But there was a secret hidden behind these marriages. The man she married was often one of her own descendants. Because Haumea lived through so many generations, the people she encountered were frequently the children of her previous unions. This cycle repeated over and over again. She would marry, give birth to children, grow older, then transform herself again, beginning the cycle anew. Through these repeated generations, Haumea became the mother of countless people. In a way, she became the eternal grandmother of humanity. But eventually, her secret would be discovered, and when that happened, everything changed. For years, the people around Haumea lived without knowing the truth of her identity. They believed she was simply another woman who had arrived from distant lands, but legends say that eventually someone began to notice something strange. The timelines didn't add up. Stories passed down through generations described a woman who looked exactly the same. A woman who appeared every few decades, always young, always beautiful, always marrying again. Eventually, someone realized the impossible truth. The young woman living among them was actually the same ancient mother who had lived among their ancestors. Haumea had been secretly renewing herself and returning to humanity again and again. When the truth was revealed, the reaction was not what she expected. Instead of reverence, there was anger, fear, suspicion, and that anger would drive the goddess away forever. Before we continue tonight's story of Witches and Wanderers, this is a good moment to pause and say thank you for listening to the Morbid Witch Podcast. If you're enjoying the episode, there are a couple of ways you can support the show. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. I always enjoy reading your thoughts and hearing what legends you'd like to explore next. And if you're listening on Spotify, don't forget to leave a rating for the podcast. It helps more witches and wanderers discover the show. You can listen to the Morbid Witch Podcast on Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. Now, let's return to the story of Haumea. One of the most important myths about Haumea tells the story of how she changed childbirth forever. According to Hawaiian legend, there was once a time when human childbirth was incredibly dangerous and unnatural. It was believed that mothers could only deliver children through a brutal method. The child could not be born naturally. Instead, the mother's body had to be cut open in order for the baby to survive. Many mothers died during this process. Childbirth was seen as something terrifying, something that often ended in tragedy. But everything changed when Haumea visited a young woman named Muleula, the daughter of a chieftain. Muleula was struggling through an incredibly difficult labor. Seeing the suffering, Haumea realized that humanity needed help. So she turned to the natural world for a solution. To solve the problem of childbirth, Haumea gathered ingredients from the surrounding forest. Among them was the fruit of a sacred tree called Kani Kawi, sometimes identified with the June plum tree. From this plant, she created a powerful potion. This mixture was given to Muleula during her labor, and something extraordinary happened. For the first time, the child was born naturally. No cutting, no violence, no death. Through her knowledge and compassion, Haumea had given humanity a new way to bring life into the world. From that moment on, humans could give birth in a natural way. Because of the story, Haumea became deeply associated with midwifery, healing, and maternal protection. She wasn't just a goddess of fertility. She was a protector of mothers. Despite everything she had done for humanity, Haumea's relationship with people did not end peacefully. When her identity was discovered, many people reacted with anger and distrust. Some believed she had deceived them. Others feared the strange cycle of her rebirth. The goddess who had once walked among them freely was suddenly treated as an outsider. And Haumea would not tolerate that disrespect. Legend says she became furious, not simply angry, but deeply wounded by humanity's reaction. So she made a decision. She would leave the human world forever. Turning away from the villages and families she had once lived among, Haumea disappeared. And with her departure, an era came to an end. The Eternal Mother had withdrawn from humanity. The myths of Haumea reminds us that many ancient cultures saw life itself as something sacred and cyclical. Birth, death, and renewal were not separate events. They were all part of the same endless process. In Hawaiian mythology, Haumea represents the power that keeps that cycle moving forward. She is youth returning after age, life continuing after death, generation after generation unfolding across time. Even though stories say she eventually left humanity behind, her influence remains everywhere in Hawaiian myth. Every child born, every generation that follows the last, all part of the cycle she helped create. Thank you for listening to the Morbid Witch Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you're following the show on Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Pandora, so you never miss a story. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. And if you're listening on Spotify, take a moment to leave a rating for the podcast. It helps more witches and wanderers discover the show. Until next time, stay strange, stay spooky, and remember, the shadows are always watching.